Hello friends, Tom Downey here for NFL Daily on Chat Sports, here to take you through some potential replacements for Browns head coach Hue Jackson. Now, for those of you that somehow missed it, well, Hue Jackson got fired today, and I think I speak for many Browns fans, and maybe excluding members of the Hue Jackson family, all of the NFL. Finally, Hue Jackson was a disaster in Cleveland. I actually liked the hire at the time. Clearly did not work out. He was fired today. Greg Williams is now your interim head coach. This, fun fact by the way, is the 6th straight Browns head coach who has been fired after the second game of the season, which they're fired against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kind of crazy how that ended up working out, right? So Jackson was 2-5 this year. They actually won games. Frankly, I am not sure how he survived last year after not winning a game at all. So we'll take you now through 10 potential replacements that the Browns could target to hire in 2019. Of course, looking ahead not to the interim, because that's going to be Greg Williams. So first up, a bit of a tie, a fun tie here for you guys. How about Jim Harbaugh at number 10? And these next two names are very much names that we know we're going to see quite a bit mentioned. Jim Harbaugh there checks in at number 10. Now, go way back when the report was that Harbaugh actually passed on the chance, to coach the Browns. The Browns tried to trade for Harbaugh. They offered him a deal. It was going to be for some mid-round picks, and Harbaugh said, I'm good. Now ended up at Michigan. It is worth mentioning, though, that Harbaugh hasn't stayed more than 4 years in one spot. He's, of course, entering year 4 now for Michigan. Another name that you'll see connected, Urban Meyer. We know the Browns had interest in Urban Meyer before. He's also now dealt with a bit of a scandal issue at Ohio State. So how about this? Who says no? The loser of the Michigan versus Ohio State game takes the Browns job. It's almost like a punishment, but maybe it's coming because you get to have Baker Mayfield as well. So who would you guys rather hire as a head coach for the Browns or any NFL team? Type H for Jim Harbaugh, type M for Urban Meyer. Let me know in the comment section. If it's an NFL team, give me Jim Harbaugh. I've seen him do it at the NFL level and do it pretty damn well at the same time. All right, into number 9 now here. One that I saw mentioned quite a bit on Twitter and even by actual NFL reporters, Josh McDaniels. Here's the thing. I don't know if he's even touchable at this point. He seems to be the coach and waiting for starters. But remember last year, he takes the Colts job, hires people to come coach with him, and then says, JK, I'm out. I'm going to stick with the Patriots. I think he's untouchable. If I'm an NFL franchise, why would I trust McDaniels at all? Hard pass there. That's why he's at number 9. I don't think he's going to end up there. Here's a dark horse name for you. Matt Campbell, for both the Browns and even other jobs down the road. For starters, he spent almost all of his coaching career in Ohio, and he's still very young, and he's well regarded by the college ranks. Now, if you're wondering why you hiring the Iowa State head coach if you're the Browns or even any NFL team, he's actually made Iowa State competitive. Iowa State is not a football powerhouse. They're not very good. Matt Campbell has gotten them to some upsets. He's won some games. He's viewed as a bright mind. Keep an eye out for him as a potential dark horse for the Cleveland Browns. Matt Campbell, just monitor that name going forward. I don't know if he's going to get the job or even just a better college job this year. He's a dark horse to look out for. All right, number 7 is Chris Richard. Now, he interviewed for the Colts job last year, and he's a very promising offensive mind. Again, this kind of fits a mold you often see in the NFL. You fire the offensive guy in Hue Jackson, and then you hire the defensive mind in Chris Richard. And again, interviewed last year for the Colts job. The NFL and the Cowboys as well are very high on Richard and his future. Maybe he only sticks as the DC for the Cowboys this year and beyond, but I think he'll get some interviews, including possibly for the Cowboys' own job if and when Jason Garrett ends up getting fired. So Richard checks in there at number 7. We'll take you now to number 6. We'll stick kind of with that defensive mindset. How about Brian Flores? And much like Richard, he's not technically listed as the team's defensive coordinator, but he really is the team's defensive coordinator because he's the one calling the plays right now. Flores is technically listed as the team's linebackers coach, but he calls those plays for the Patriots. And remember, as a linebackers coach last year, before he was even promoted, he interviewed for the Cardinals job. When you see position coaches get interviewed for jobs, that is a very clear sign and a clear indication that teams like what they hear and like what they see from Flores. That's why he's number 6. Again, he fits that same defensive mold if the Browns want to go that route. So folks, who should the Browns hire? Let me know in the comments section. If you have names, let me see if we get some as we move into our top 5. I wouldn't be all that surprised if we move into it. First, the 5 guys we just went through. Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, they're on there. Josh McDaniels there at number 9. Matt Campbell checked in at number 7. Chris Richard checked in, Matt Campbell's number 8. Chris Richard checked in at number 7. And then Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator, checked in at number 6. So those were your bottom 5 guys of our top 10. We'll take it into the top 5 guys, names that I think you guys might like even a little bit more. How about John DeFilippo? Now, affectionately called Flip. Filippo has ties to the Browns. Remember, he was their OC for a little bit, and frankly, it was one of the better offenses that they've had in, I'll just say, the last decade. We'll give it a nice round time frame there. Interviewed last year for the Cardinals and the Bears head coaching jobs, and in what I consider in a down coaching staff year for offensive coordinators and guys to be promoted from assistants to head coaches, DeFilippo is the top guy. Now, my question is, does he want to go back to Cleveland? He's from Youngstown, so that could be an option there. I will not be surprised at all if the Browns have interest in him. Frankly, I'll be surprised if he's not hired as a head coach at the end of this season. Folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $100, they'll give you $120 for free for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI. Again, that's chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is LIVE120. All right, so we went through our, top 6 guys. How about we get now to number 4 on our list? And this is a name I think Browns fans should absolutely continue to monitor. At number 4, it is Jim Schwartz, the Eagles' defensive coordinator. Now, maybe you want to see the Browns go with an offensive guy. I get that. And yes, Schwartz ended things poorly as the Lions head coach, but he did get them to the playoffs. And I will not be surprised if we see multiple retreads, as I call them, head coaches hired this offseason. So he interviewed for the Giants job last year. Maybe the Eagles defense hasn't been the most successful this season, and he would definitely need to hire a good offensive coordinator, but I think he'd be a great fit for the Browns defense. And that defense, by the way, is really, really good right now. Now, I don't think Greg Williams, who is the interim coach, has any real chance of being the next head coach of the Browns. That would be a real shock to me. But a guy like Jim Schwartz, who I know has interest around the NFL, I think would make for a logical fit and a logical option if the Browns want to not go the offensive mind right. If they want to get a defensive coordinator, go hire a young guy to call the plays, that's where I think Jim Schwartz makes some sense. So he checks in there at number 4. Now remember who the Browns GM is, right? It's John Dorsey, the former Chiefs guy. How about some Chiefs names then? How about Eric Bieniemy, the current offensive coordinator? Now, John Dorsey, of course, knows him because he was there from 2013 to 2016. And we know in recent years that Andy Reid coaching tree sure has paid off. Matt Nagy looks pretty good right now. Doug Peterson already won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. The issue for Bieniemy is that it's a leap for him. He is not the play caller right now in Kansas City. He would go from a non-play calling offensive coordinator role to a head coach. That is a bit of a leap, but if John Dorsey likes Bieniemy and you know he's going to talk to Reid and others, that's where it makes some sense. So he checks in there at number 3. To number 2 now is a name that, I'll be honest, I thought would have been hired last year. That's Dave Taub. Now, Taub and Dorsey know each other very well. Now, the big issue for Dave is, and frankly, I think it's the stereotype of special teams coaches don't get hired. The last one was John Harbaugh, and he also took on secondary duties before he got hired as the Ravens head coach coming over from the Eagles. Well, Dave Taub did get promoted, by the way, to associate head coach for the Chiefs, has interviewed the past couple of years for the Colts job, did it for the Chargers job, the Broncos job, of course. They went to other people. Maybe Denver should have hired him, actually, because it has not worked out very well for Vance Joseph. But I think Taub is an under-the-radar name that makes some sense. Plus, he has that John Dorsey connection. I think that could be a big, big factor. He would get to be the head coach only, and then he'll hire guys to run the offense and the defense. But at number 1, and clearly at number 1 if you follow Twitter, is Lincoln Riley. Kind of a no surprise here given the immediate speculation on social media that you could hire Lincoln Riley and reunite him with Baker Mayfield. And that'd be fun. And NFL teams like Riley, I think 30 of them in some capacity, talked to Riley this offseason about his offense to work so well. So you could reunite Lincoln and Baker. How great would that be? With that said, though, Lincoln Riley says he's not interested in an NFL job, although he did leave the door open saying not right now. Now, if I'm Lincoln Riley, I don't know if I want to go to the NFL. He's got a really good gig at Oklahoma. He's young, he's making a ton of money, he's having great success. He's going to keep competing for championships, I would assume, both Big 12 and national. So if I'm Riley, maybe I don't leave for an NFL job. So really, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Will Riley leave Oklahoma for an NFL job? Maybe not this year. Maybe it's next year, the year after that. Let me know in the comment section. I won't be surprised. I know NFL teams want him, but you can make plenty of money at the college level. That's where he spent his entire career. So it's an option, but I'm not quite as convinced as saying is, oh, just go hire Lincoln Riley. I'm not sure he wants to leave, a la maybe a David Shaw, for example. All right, so those top 5 guys, number 1 was Lincoln Riley. Dave Taub, Eric Bieniemy checking at 2 and 3 with that Chiefs connection. Jim Schwartz is number 4, I think the top defensive guy if the Browns want to go that route. John DeFilippo is going to be a targeted guy for any NFL team that needs a head coach. And some other names to watch out for. Brian Flores, Richard, remember, teams often go the opposite direction from an offensive mind to a defensive mind. Matt Campbell's my dark horse. And then Josh McDaniels, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. All names I'm sure you'll see connected, but might not be the most likely ones. But guys, let me know who you think the Browns will hire in the comment section.